I don't forget. But the Wheel of Fortune rises and it falls.
Wheel of Fortune. Win.
Because you backed a king whose court was whose taxes were unpayable, and whose men he had smiled on and pardoned, and yet you called him pious?
But now you are holding my too tightly and I may faint.
You may not faint. These are different times, Lady Margaret. Lancaster brought us only King Edward will bring us.
He is a pretender. He has taken the throne by
He is the king, and those who speak against him are guilty of.
It is stained with the blood and tears of our Lord Jesus Christ. Lay your on it, and let me hear you swear again.
His uncle Jasper would not let this happen. He would write to Edward, my poor boy, he would feel his pain as I...
Don't hide behind our cousin, George! Does our mother know about this?
You, Edward! I'll not allow that witch upon the throne!
God's will, God's will, God's will, God's will.
God's will, God's will, God's will, God's will.
It is the will of God, the will of God, the will of God, the will of God. It's God's will, it's God's will, it's God's will, it's God's will. It's your will, it's your will, it's your will, it's your will. It's God's will.
God's will.
It's the will of God. It's your will. It's God's will. God forbid. God will have my son on the throne. God has spoken to me. You are doing God's work. Monstrous in the eyes of God. God's rightful king. God will protect you. Play God. Oh, God. In the hands of God. It's God's will. God's will. God's will. God's will.
And when the time is right, we will our boy.
I don't want to be king if you will die.
I won't die for a very long time. I promise.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. What is this?
Edward, leave us. George has just accused me publicly of witchcraft. He is accusing me of murder, Edward. And if you're not going to do anything about it, then I most certainly will.
Listen, what will you do? I already say you're a witch. Unless you want those rumours to grow, then you must learn to
Let it go!
for once and do nothing.
May I ask who among the king's men you have in mind?
This is not what we fought for.
Yes, it is. Peace and plenty is exactly what we fought for.
Whoring? Really?
He has a good point.
It is an honor to meet you, Duchess Cecily.
Surprise, motherfucker!
But you're so vain, you think he loves
He does love me, you spiteful...
You're a whore.
Last time we saw you, Richard, you your
a horse at our father's castle. Do you remember?
Our father, King Edward.
So he did. And Edward loves him for it.
Warwick has a secret deal with the King of France. Louis has promised him in exchange for my alliance with France.
My boy. My boy.
My boy!
My boys. My boy!
Is he clear? Is he clear? Clear!
I use clear, scalp and hair.
Bastard.
Bastards. Bastards.
Bastard.
Bastard.